October is Star Wars Reads Month. But that does not mean Star Wars Love Month. One of the reasons Star Wars sucks occurred within the original trilogy with Vader's redemption plot twist. Yuck! Since these articles are about Vader, hearing about the terrible things he did is bad enough without having to look at him too. So images of things that are not Star Wars should help to keep your eyes from bleeding at least.
Anakin Vader's redemption is a crock of crap. I'm Ocean, and I hate Anakin Skywinker, otherwise known as Anakin's Barf Invader. I'm fine with the occasional redemption if the character in question still seems redeemable, but not after they've crossed the line. I don't care how tragic their backstory is. Once they abuse their spouse and torture and slaughter people, especially little kids, that's it. Anakin Vader redeemed my foot. I don't care if it's canon. This sick twist did way too much and was too far gone to just suddenly be a good guy again just by saving one person, who he had already severed a hand from before anyway, that person being his own son. Another plot twist that absolutely sucks.
I'm your father.
And it was copied in a soap opera I used to watch with my mom and my niece growing up, likely elsewhere as well. That so-called redemption does not elevate Anakin Vader. It only makes his biological son, Luke, less heroic for developing feelings for him just because of that one good act and because they are biologically related. No amount of sadness pathos by fans over Anakin Vader's own past suffering or unbelievable sudden attachment to Luke Skywalker or vice versa because of
I'm your father
will erase the commission of power-hungry and sadistic acts in Anakin Darth Vader Skywalker's past. The guy was more than capable of extreme sadism, and he did it over and over and over. And he enjoyed it. Force choking was among his favorite means of interrogation, intimidation, and execution. Burning people alive was another. Psychological terror, torment went hand in hand with these. Anakin Vader loved toying with people, making them submit to him in terror. To him, that was considered respect. Like the depraved monster Palpatine Sidious, Anakin Vader thrived on power and domination. He had that inclination all along, which is why Palpatrash wanted him. Oh, and of course his crazy, stupid, over-the-top Gary Stu Force power. Like the odious psycho Reva in that pathetic Ben Kenobi series, he blamed everything and everyone else for his downfall. Can we say narcissist? I once knew a sick chick who was hopelessly stuck on this character. She tried to tell me Vader actually showed some woman mercy by rescuing her from some burning hot place where she was confined. Not true. Vader only took her out of there after she answered some questions to his satisfaction. He just stayed there, asking stupid questions while she writhed in agony. True mercy would have been getting her out of there and seeing to her injuries immediately, no questions asked. True mercy was way beyond anything Vader would do. After all, he already choked his wife, killed a man in front of her out of jealousy, slaughtered a bunch of kids, and many other heinous acts. The fangirl turned out to be as narcissistic as Vader, and the sad thing is, if someone compared her to him, she'd consider it a compliment. She also turned me completely against Star Wars altogether because of her crazy addiction to it. It doesn't have to be drugs to be an addiction. There are quite a few quotes from Anakin Vader and other Star Wars characters coming up, but I'm not about to go searching the net to retrieve their voice clips. So I'll just quote them and use a voice changer on the Dark One setting to do Anakin Vader's stupid crap. In 2022, that awful Obi-Wan Kenobi series came out. Since it was a poor attempt to unnecessarily fill in some gap between the sucky prequels and the original Star Wars trilogy, which also sucks because of
I'm your father.
And because of that fangirl, Vader was in it. Many Star Wars fans say Vader wimped out when he should have killed Reva Savander, a huge Mary Sue character with an all-too-real bad political agenda dressed up to look like entertainment. Even if I was a Star Wars fan, I would disagree. I would have rather she screwed herself over by mishandling her stupid flying lightsaber. Vader just kept Reva alive more for his own entertainment than anything else. He loved nothing more than toying with people. Besides, Reva had to survive, so the people behind that series could try to make her out to be some kind of hero and work in the politics all at the same time. That series is just like everything else Disney has put out since they bought Star Wars, politically driven, no matter what the shill media says. But Anakin Vader still got to be himself and do the following. 1. Anakin Vader killed a teenager in front of his father, then choked him out. 2. Anakin Vader dragged a woman to death in the street. 3. Anakin Vader force-plunged Ben into a fire saying,
Now you will suffer.
And intentionally burned him, taking his own sweet time to do so. He relished in the sadism of his actions with,
Your pain has just begun.
4. Anakin Vader choked Reva with his usual annoying,
You were warned what defeat would bring. I will tolerate your weakness no longer.
The web forum boards .theforce.net has a post titled Anakin Should Not Have Been Redeemed. Forum member Graves101 says, quote, He basically killed Mace Windu, killed dozens of Jedi and younglings, and scorched the Jedi Temple of all life, planned to kill Sidious, his friend, to presumably become an even worse Sith Lord, mercilessly killed the whole Separatist Council, basically killed his wife, the selfish reason he did all the former, tried to kill his master, would slay thousands of Jedi during the campaign of the Purge, killed his own Imperial troops for mundane reasons, killed billions of innocents with the Alderaan incident, betrayed his own apprentice twice while deceiving him the second time, and so much more. But it's okay to say he is forgiven because he saved his own son? After all that, one little action should not have redeemed Anakin. He still deserved damnation. End quote. Another article written by Andrew Dice dated October 17, 2015 is titled 10 Most Annoying Star Wars Characters Ever. Here's the part about Anakin Vader. Quote, 3. Anakin Skywalker. The entirety of the blame has to lay on the shoulders of George Lucas and whatever other writers he turned to for assistance in crafting the character's arc. Going by the original films, Anakin was a proud, incredibly powerful warrior who was turned to the dark side by tragedy. In other words, a fairly standard story of a tragic hero's fall from grace and eventual redemption. As we now know, that's not what fans got. Instead, and we're still baffled by the decision, Lucas created a character who was so clearly power-hungry, petulant, single-minded, self-centered, and fascist-leaning, it's safe to say audiences were shown that Anakin was always going to go bad. In all honesty, nobody has to make a case for Anakin being an annoyance as a child, teenager, and adult. Knowing how it forever altered the Star Wars legacy annoys us to our core. End quote. Well, I don't give a flying hot crap about the Star Wars legacy anymore. It is nice to know at least some of its fans can't stand Anakin Vader. Here's a snippet of an article by Peter Rayner from New York on May 24th, 1999. It's called 10 Things We Still Kinda Hate About the Phantom Menace. Quote, The Phantom Menace, the first of a projected prequel trilogy, introduces the 9-year-old Anakin Skywalker, who will grow up to be Vader. Based on what we see here, it doesn't seem like such an ineffable mystery that this kid will end up a wheezing, intergalactic, power-mongering control freak. A slave boy who already fashions himself a Jedi Knight, Anakin is a precocious brat, the kind of kid who, in our own galaxy, might commandeer a playground and run everybody else off the jungle gym. End quote. On the Star Wars Reddit are some posts also expressing unhappiness with Anakin Vader. They are as follows. What gets me about Vader's Redemption? Posted by u/Santhidtat. What gets me about Vader's Redemption is that it's too little, too late. As a kid, watching ROTJ, Return of the Jedi, I was always joyous that Darth Vader turned back into Anakin Skywalker. When I watch it now, I think of the children he slaughtered in the temple, and the billions of people on Alderaan, and whatever horrors he committed in the EU. Haven't read many EU novels yet, and while I still think he did a good deed murdering the Emperor, I personally don't think it's enough to fully redeem him, and I doubt he thinks so either. It's tragic. He wants to be the chosen one he was always told he would, but he really messed up. Vader's Redemption is a little twisted. Posted by u/MADNESS0918. Vader's Redemption is a little twisted. This came to my mind after seeing those Vader going on a massacre comments on Rogue One related posts. I don't know if Lucas thought that in Episode 3, Anakin Vader would go on a rampage, kill and betray all his fellow Jedi, but also murder a bunch of kids who are under 10. Oh yeah, what about Padme? She was pregnant, and he was sorta in love with her, and married to her. Then, in Episode 4 to 6, he maybe becomes torn between light and dark, but still oversees the completion of 2 planet-destroying weapons. Imagine if Earth were blown to bits. 7 billion people. And even if it were just Alderaan blown up, we should assume that's a lot of dead people. I forgot to mention, he also killed his own officers when he got mad, and founded a power-mad, micromanaging, destructive empire. Then by sacrificing himself to kill the Emperor, he is totally redeemed and made into a shiny ghost, and put on the same level as Obi-Wan and Yoda. Plus, sensible, admirable Jedi like Qui-Gon, Mace Windu, and countless others were marginalized. Am I the only one who is maybe seeing a problem here? Am I the only one who thinks that maybe kids thinking this dude is awesome is maybe a tiny bit creepy? Luke shouldn't have tried to redeem Darth Vader, posted by UCalFurious. Luke shouldn't have tried to redeem Darth Vader, and it was a bad plot point in Return of the Jedi. Luke trying to redeem Vader was a dumb plot. I'm sorry. I know it's really famous and well-loved in Star Wars fanon, but it makes no goddamn sense. When has Vader ever showed literally any doubt or hesitation before ROTJ? Never. Why is Vader so special that he should be given mercy, but Luke Skywalker cuts through stormtroopers and mercenaries without a second thought? Now for William Bibbiani's Twitter discussion. Let's be honest here. William Bibbiani, 2:30 p.m., March 6, 2019. Let's be honest here. Darth Vader didn't redeem himself and he didn't change. He didn't kill the Emperor because of his fascism or to prevent a genocide. He did it because he liked his son a bit more than Palpatine. He did it to preserve his family line. He was being selfish. If Vader lived, he'd have pulled a Kylo and taken over the Empire himself, and he would have tried to recruit Luke again as his Palawan, just like he said he would in Episode 5. And of course, just like Kylo did with Rey, his offer of an alliance was not out of decency. It was out of pragmatism. She's powerful. She can end the resistance. Siding with Rey is a smart play. It's not an act of redemption. He got that from Vader. He then goes on to why he likes some things about The Last Jedi, but let's skip that and continue with what he says about Anakin Vader. Quote, "There might be some good in him, but he committed genocide and slaughtered children by hand and ushered in an oppressive fascist regime that's responsible for incalculable suffering and death. But there's a part of him that's not so bad, still isn't much of a defense. And I am unconvinced that his soul is saved after just one brief moment of quasi-decency. He saved his son after really thinking hard about it. He slaughtered billions and didn't give a damn. He says he's a good guy, but maybe he just wanted his son to like him." Mason Moreno says, "I honestly think Jedi is less about Vader's redemption and way more about Luke learning from his father's mistakes and resisting the temptation to go down the same road. That Luke can forgive Vader makes Luke a hero. It doesn't actually mean Vader is a good person at heart. Completely agree. Most prequelists who believe the saga is Anakin's story more than Luke will disagree. But Luke is the chosen one. He refused the dark side. Vader didn't. I really wish Rian Johnson was doing Episode 9 because I don't trust JJ to do anything besides redemption." End of post. Luke Skywalker started out as a hero at the end of the first Star Wars movie now with the title A New Hope. But he became much less by the end of the original trilogy when he thought Anakin Vader was redeemable. Well, more Star Warped crap got churned out since The Last Jedi, and none of it is any better. It's Star Warped, no hope, folks. I touched on that horrible Femforce Ben Kenobi series earlier. Reva Savander, who commits murder and torture, kidnapping and abuse of a child, we'll get to her in a moment, is just as psycho as Anakin Vader. She not only survives by being a complete Mary Sue, she also gets redeemed. How? By crying huge crocodile tears, of course. Villain turning out to be related to the hero arc and the redemption arc are tired old tropes that need to be retired. As for the child, she was a nightmarish, hyperactive, babbling, bastardized version of, would you believe, Princess Leia? She was more like Grogu, also known as Baby Yoda, but the Mandalorian series already had him, so they just had to make sure to put some little girl power in the Kenobi series. Thing is, Leia is not at all this way when an adult. More to the point, she never actually knew Ben Kenobi before No Hope. Excuse me, New Hope. So, Baby Leia, as she became known from the Kenobi series, is a great, big, unnecessary plot crater. I'm not sure exactly when Disney turned into woke-knee, but it is not getting any love from me unless it does an about-face and gives the woke agendas the shaft permanently.